we're going to be chatting to Rob Parsons. A very good morning to you, Dr.
Good morning to you.
Rob Parsons. I'm not sure what all the titles I need to give you.
Oh, it's lovely to be with you both.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. And for those who don't know Rob Parsons, I mean, this gentleman is a gentleman of note. Not only has he got a heart for family and has written numerous books, some 25 books, which have sold over 1 million copies, but he's also spoken to audiences around the world on family, on parenting, on the heart of communication, and also the very important topic of how to be successful. This morning, Rob, we're going to get into parenting because it is scary to see how many families are struggling, how many parents are struggling. And it's understandable, though, because times have changed. So right off the bat, let's just get into it. The Big Parenting Question event in collaboration with Focus on the Family Africa, CCFM, ourselves, and yourself, Catherine Hill, and yourself, Rob. What should people expect at this Big Parenting Questions event?
Well, do you know, Jonathan, I think what you said earlier is absolutely right. It's harder to be a child today. I mean, I don't think there ever was a golden age of the family, but it's tougher to be a child today. Many, many pressures. And many young people are suffering emotional pressure far, far younger than we ever saw before. And that means it's harder to be a parent. Many parents feel, you know, I'm really struggling. Am I a good dad? Am I a good mom? And in this event, we really want to give people practical tools to help them and their kids through, and also, you know, relieve that sense of guilt that many parents feel. I hope it will really lift people. I'm really, really looking forward to coming.
Yeah, we definitely looking forward to having you as well on the 6th of March. But Dr. Rob, you and Catherine Hill will be chatting about quite a few different topics, and it's big questions, which we were going through just a few of them, and there really are some big ones. Maybe if you can just chat a little bit more into that. What are some of the topics that you will be speaking on?
Well, I think you've got Catherine on the show next week, but let me just tell you briefly what Catherine's going to talk about. She's just written 2 incredible books called Left to Their Own Devices, about screen time, the whole digital world, and another one called A Mind of Their Own, building strong resilience in your kids. And Catherine's going to be sharing some stuff about screen time, how much screen time could kids have, how can we manage that digital world better, and then also, how can we, in this incredibly pressurized world that many of our kids feel of social media, how can we build strong emotional resilience in them to help them get through? So Catherine will be covering those topics. And I love listening to Catherine. I've told the world, speaking with her, she's a wonderful communicator. And I'm going to talk about some big questions of foundation, like this. What's the greatest gift a parent can give a child? I mean, all over the world, parents say love. Love is the greatest gift. Well, it probably is, but there's another gift. And if this gift is not given, a child will never believe they are loved. It is the gift of acceptance. And I want to really, really unpack that.
I want to just delve into that gift of acceptance just a little bit, because I know for a fact that many parents had rejection at an early age, had father wounds. Just please share with us a little bit. I know that you'll unpack a lot more on the 6th of March, but just share with us a bit right here now, please.
Well, do you know, I'm going to talk on the night about a woman I met at a party some years ago. She was mid-40s, and she began to tell me about her mother. And she said her father died early on, and she had an incredible relationship with him. She said when she was a little girl, he used to sweep her up into his arms and tell her how beautiful she was. But she said, my mother was different. She said, I could never, ever please my mother. If I came second in the school exams, my mother told me if I worked harder, I could come first. If I came third in the race, she said, if I trained more, I could break the tape. My hair was thin because I didn't have enough fresh air. She said my skin was, she had 1,000 things that were wrong with me. And she said one day when I was 16, I saved for months for a dress for the school prom. I came downstairs in it. My mother said, It makes you look cheap. She said, I went upstairs, I cut it in 100 pieces. And this woman of 45 she was just almost in a shell. An experience with her mother had really damaged her terribly. And I said, is your mother still alive? No, she said. She died a couple of years ago. Her last words to me were, Emily, your glasses are on crooked. And you know, Jonathan, Rachel, when we have parenting like that, it really, really affects us. But it's not easy as a parent. Because on the one hand, we want our kids to do well. We want to push them. But on the other hand, they have to know they are loved and accepted anyway.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much. Sure.
That is so, so deep. And also just looking forward to hearing you speak and unpacking more of that. Dr. Rob Parsons, of course, will be at the Focus on the Family Big Parenting Questions and the next day at the Heart of Communication. So we're looking forward to both of that. But as we just kind of like just one more question that I want to ask you this morning, and something that just stood out for me, and that is, where do I set boundaries? That is something that's so big, because even as an adult as well, you're like, where do I set boundaries? You know, how do I do this? How to set these boundaries? If you can just share.
It's so tough. It's the big question, isn't it? You know, and especially if you've got one of those testing kids, you know, we a testing child and every parent that has more than one child has a testing child. Well, we're going to talk about 3 different styles of parenting. The first is the permissive parent. In this home, there are no rules, anything goes. And generally kids don't do so well in that home. They don't do well. A psychologist said to me years ago, many parents want to be their kid's best friend, and that's a mistake, because parents sometimes have to take hits in the popularity stakes. They have to say no sometimes. The second kind of parent is the authoritarian parent. You will never do this while you're under my roof. I'll lay down these rules. And that goes well for a while, but often later in life, there's a terrible bitterness. The better style, and I'm going to talk about this, is what we call assertive parenting. Now, in this home, there are as few rules as possible, but those that are there are enforced. And the child knows exactly where they are. Now, look, it's not easy. And so especially if you're perhaps a child with additional needs that are special pressures. But I want to show some ways that we can really do that. And I'll tell you, the earlier we begin, the better.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, we've asked Dr. Rob Parsons to stick around and chat to us again at 7:45, because there's more that we want to get into. But right here now, we're aware that some people might be needing to get out of the car, get into a meeting or whatever. If you are a parent, please make sure that you book your space for the Big Parenting Questions Cape Town seminar happening on the 6th of March. It's happening at Linkway Church. It's a fantastic church. A couple of us from CCFM were there meeting with the pastors and the leadership and checking out the venue. They can seat 600 people. Plus, then they've got a kiddies area that can accommodate some 90 children. So come on, book your tickets, 100 Rand a ticket per person, and not only will you get to hear wisdom from Rob and Catherine, but also you will get to engage with other parents, like-minded parents, and have access to resources on the night and have an incredible experience. I'm going to be there. It's going to be fantastic, and we are so looking forward to it. 6th of March is the date. You book your tickets via Quicket, and you just look for the Big Parenting Questions. Obviously, make sure that you choose the Cape Town seminar. They are doing seminars in other parts of our country as well. So if you're living in other parts and listening to us, find out about your area and book your tickets. Big Parenting Questions. Rob, as always, it's great to chat to you. Thank you for being willing to stick around and chat to us again at about 7:45. I think it's going to be just so helpful. Yeah,
lovely to chat to you both.
Lovely. Really appreciate it.
To have you.
Hands up.